Welcome to WROL Broadcast. I am Hatemael, and with me today we have the always horny Kage.
I have a banana in my mouth. Horny I am.
He's got major COVID withdrawals. And we have Sheriff Lobo.
Well, hello, everyone.
And Sir Loot.
Hey, guys.
And we, this is the tier list. M4 should be joining us, hopefully sooner than later. But we are on a tight schedule because it's Thanksgiving week. And for some reason they decided to do raids during Thanksgiving week, which
Boo!
is terrible. It's just terrible. This raid's gonna suck. Since this is being recorded, or this will come out after raids are over, this is probably, if you're gonna try to beat the L's, this would have been the month for it, because we got a lot of people down. So, anyway, should be an interesting raid. Hopefully everybody else has the same problems we have.
Me.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
Everybody. Half the team.
We need human intimacy, not DCL.
Yes, we do. All right, so we will go ahead and get started with the toon of the month. I don't think, actually, we'll make this quick because is there anybody not picking Star Sapphire?
There you go. That's your answer.
Yeah, I mean, she just.
I had backup comments for Martian Manhunter because I figured everybody else was going to pick Star Sapphire, but she would still get my vote.
Yeah, she's amazing. So we'll I know M4 is going to want to talk about her. He took her, didn't he take her to RB5?
Yes.
So she's last on the list, so we'll save her because she's a great character. So anyway, we will start with Alan Scott. We had him originally at an A. It looks like everyone has him as an A except for Kage. You haven't voted yet. So would you say that he's still an A for you?
I was on the border. Well, I was on the borderline between B and A because you would imagine when he first came out, his basic hit like a truck and he would like wipe people out. But this siege, even if you call assists like Alan Scott to hit Star Sapphire or even Guy Gardner, it just you couldn't guarantee a one shot. So
yeah, I kind of
I
was
don't know.
I teetered myself, but he's still, I think he's a low A. He's kind of lost a little bit of his impact, but I still feel like he's a very good character. Anybody else have any comments?
Yeah, there were many fights that I thought he was a B, but there were also, like, he was one of those weird characters where, like, some of the fights he'd be really great, and then he would retaliate a lot, which is awesome. But then other fights, he was not nearly as good. So I still think he's an A, but he's like an A with an asterisk.
Yeah, A minus.
I think one of the problems with him this siege was all those strength downs from Star Sapphire because she was on every team.
Yeah.
And that kind of neutered him a lot. If it wasn't for that, I think he would definitely be big-time A in siege.
In the opposite, when you're facing another Alan Scott, especially with Star Sapphire, he seems to drop the passive strength down so much more than yours. So, yeah, you're right. You always have strength downs.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
defensively he's actually really good with agility ups and the constant shielding. So yeah, I can see him being A still.
Moving on, let's go to Blackhand. I was really excited for him when he came out. I will start with you, Sheriff Lobo, because you put him at a C, so that kind of surprised me.
I'm not a fan, and maybe I am at being too harsh on him, but I played with him for 2 days in PvP, and basically I would lose every other match. He did not work for me. I don't think he has survivability. He dies easily, especially those killer reds. And obviously his trick is that he's supposed to ramp up, but his ramp up, in my opinion, is not as good as Etrigan. I think Etrigan is a much better at what he does. With a Lex lead, obviously he can be great because Lex gives him in-ups. In theory, he's supposed to be like a really good Arcus dealer with her. But by the time that move comes in handy, Arcus has already taken out somebody on your team. And the few times that I've used his 3 move, it purged all the buffs, but it didn't even kill him because you obviously have to take out Arcus first or he's going to wipe out your team, and you can't kill anybody else to ramp him up. So it doesn't work for me to nuke Arcus. Works a bit better on Power Girl, but I think Etrigan is much better than Black Hand. Etrigan survives better. He has that crit immunity. He heals himself. Gets a double swipe. Ramp is better. So I don't like Black Hand.
All right. How about you, Loot? What were your thoughts?
So my thoughts are a little weird because the vote that I gave him was not based on my experience. It was based on others' experience with him. So if it were based on just my experience, he would be worse than a C. He would be trash.
Wow.
I don't even think he's remotely good. He maybe, if you're lucky, in the right circumstance, he'll actually get to use his big hit and kill somebody, if you're lucky. If he doesn't die first. Now, mind you, my Black Hand doesn't revive himself. So there's that. My Black Hand doesn't kill people. There's that too. My Black Hand dies constantly. For me, he's trash. But I gave him a, so you'd say, well, why the hell did you give him a B? Well, I gave him a B because there are countless people in our alliance that just keep saying how great he is, and he does this and he does that. So for once, I tried to separate my view from maybe like what more of a reality was. But in this instance, I am totally going with Sheriff Lobo on this, and I'm taking it a step farther. He's trash.
Yeah, I listened to the podcast this morning, and I think Du Bois way oversold him.
Yeah, I think he might have a little bit. Kage, what would you give him?
I think he's trash. I looked at his kit and I was like, "What? Where are they going with this kit? This is because the idea behind the basic was like, oh yeah, you'll do more damage on the shielded enemy, but it's like, okay, but if they're not shielded, you're not doing, dick." So that being said, I didn't see what you guys saw in that kit. It was just kind of all over the place. There was no direction, so I can't give him anything higher than a trash.
Wow. Okay. I actually think he's all right. I don't think he's great. I do think that Du Bois oversold him a little bit, but he I do find him pretty useful against Arcus, against Power Girl, against basically anybody with death immunity that's a green. He seems to do pretty well. I like the Doom. His basic does good damage. Once you get a kill or have someone die on your team, he does ramp pretty decent, and then he starts to do pretty considerable damage. I don't think he's a bad character. A lot of people really like him, which surprises me. I mean, a lot of people love him. So,
I will say, in the siege, he against like your all green team, I think he did mildly well if he could ramp up. I think he's a poor man. Well, he's a rich man's subpar Black Adam, I guess. Not even Black Adam, more like a really rich dude's subpar Etrigan.
yeah, I think so.
I don't know, man. He sounds like Blue Beetle to me.
He's way better than Blue
a rich
Beetle,
man's Blue Beetle.
A rich man's Blue Beetle.
That's overzealous. I mean, his 3 still does strong damage. I mean, Blue Beetle never does good damage, even with 1,000
like
buffs.
what, 2-3 turn cooldown. So
but at least, I mean, Blue Beetle doesn't even have that. So, I mean, you got to buff Blue Beetle and give him crit, and he still doesn't kill people.
And it's like you put, Doom on someone. It's like, oh wow, Doom. So you just purge it off.
Doom works, especially against Cyborg Superman.
Well, with Camo, Camo makes it work. Black Hand doesn't.
Black Hand, I think, actually does it better, because I would cast it on Martian Manhunter or one of those characters that I'm going to save for last, and they would usually be dead before I got around to them.
Oh, that's good.
So, I mean, it does.
Maybe True Sight on him. Yeah, and then, put on an invisible character like Martian Manhunter.
All right, well, I think people will be surprised that we did not like this character much at all.
All right, I'll go C, but I don't know.
I vote S.
So I guess that puts him at a C, actually. Because we got Luke, Kage, and Sheriff all at C's. So, well, Ludo, what is your final score Is it a B, a C, T?
It's a C.
Okay, so then he's a C.
C.
All right, Cyborg Superman. I think most people have him as a B. I'm kind of teetering between B and C personally. I'm not super excited about him. He's all right. I mean, he does okay, but he takes so long to ramp up. He's kind of tanky, but there's just the special damage or the powerhouse greens still seem to be able to knock him out at a reasonable clip. But I
He's
think,
just not as effective. Go ahead.
yeah. But what would you rank him, Kage?
I put him as a B. I don't think he's as special as when he first came out, as like the only special damage green that could hit hard. So I think he's kind of lost his shine.
Yeah, he was strong. Anybody else have any other comments? Or we'll just move on because he's a repeat character.
He was actually useful as a utility with, the siege. In the past, obviously, you bring him for his high damage, but like with his, purging immunities, there were a number of characters, bonus teams that had, immunities, death immunities, and you could use his laser vision to purge those immunities, and the crit downs were helpful for mitigating damage, but yeah, he's definitely gone down.
Yeah, I think he's been power crept big time. So let's move on to one of the reworks. So we'll give him a little bit of time. Is John Stewart Green Lantern? Luke, I'll let you start.
With who?
John Stewart Green Lantern.
Ay, ay, ay. He's terrible.
Back the truck up.
Oh, we got M4.
I-
There we go.
He's trash. He's just so bad. He's terrible. I think I was trying to be nice, and I think I gave him a C. But in reality, he's worse. He does nothing right. Well, you know what? Maybe he does one thing right, and maybe that's why I gave him a C. His giving the buff to somebody else, not himself, because he sucks, but giving the buff to someone else was helpful.
Yeah, I mean, his rework was just super disappointment. M4. Now that you've returned, any thoughts on John Stewart?
Other than he sucks, the rework gave him empowered strength ups, but I think it worked against him. Before he has I don't know how many strength ups, and it's harder to purge them because he has so many. But now that he only gets I think it's 3, and if you get immunity, any purger can just remove all of them, and it's now again useless. They should have stacked him up the wazoo with empowered strength ups to at least do something.
Sheriff, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Loot. He's almost trash-worthy, and if it weren't for being able to put those empowered strengths up on, Wonder Girl or somebody else on the team, I would have given him trash. His kit relies on him being below 50% health and surviving, but he's not tanky enough to do that. And there are so many buff immunity toons, including Lex, who's on every team. There's absolutely no worry or sweat in terms of keeping his kit from activating.
Kage, any thoughts?
I like him mildly, but I was going to give him a B, but after hearing Sheriff Lobo and Boot, I think they make a good point that, hey, he's good for utility, but by himself, not really someone you care to bring. And you would think that his AoE turn meter down would be useful, but 16% is kind of why'd you put that number there? Why even have a turn meter down move at all if you're not going to do anything with it? So I think his kit's kind of all over the place. So yeah, I'll go with the C.
Next up is Guy Gardner, which I think a lot of the community doesn't really like. I've warmed up to him a lot, personally. I'm giving him a B, which I think I had him at a C or a T before. I really didn't like him when he first came out, but I've warmed up to him a lot. We'll start with you this time, Sheriff Lobo.
Yeah, he was better this siege than I rated him for in the past, so I think my score came up with him. So I used him quite a bit. If I could go a full bonus team, it was usually Cyborg Superman, Guy, Star Sapphire, and Alan Scott. His agility downs were really helpful for the whole team. His damage can be pretty good when he's buffed. Damage and crit immunity were helpful at times. It's really nice when you can get those double kills, but that doesn't happen very often. Overall, I think he's pretty good, not great. An enraged toon, and that's always a double-sided coin. You get the damage boost, but no control. So I think he fits with the B.
M4.
Yeah, same with Sheriff Lobo. I warmed up to him a lot, and I really like the initial crit immunity. And then you have Star Sapphire, which you can alternate, which allows you to have crit immunity the whole match. And I think he's even A tier for a Lantern team. So in this siege, I really liked using him. And then also his damage is a bit inconsistent, but when he gets rolling, he can get really scary. So I'm bumping him up to a B.
Kage.
Somewhere between C and B, just because he's really inconsistent to use. B characters, I would say, are more consistent, that you can see yourself bring into a match more often than not. I think Guy is just really niche. I do like the starting crit immunity and damage immunity for a Lantern team. That's always really helpful, and that helped me through the siege. But other than that, I don't find he ramps. It takes too long to ramp, and that enrage is kind of hit or miss. It's like, okay, if someone hits him while he's enraged and he kills them, that's great. But other than that, it's really easy to avoid touching him, and he just kind of peters out. So I would probably lean more towards C.
And Lou, you had him as a B.
So I actually like him now. I don't know what changed for me, but I can tell you that he was very useful this past siege. He doesn't die that easily, which for me is a big factor on how I rate toons, is survivability. Because the truth is this is endgame PvP, right? I mean, that's like our thing.
Yeah.
That's what we rate players on, what we rate characters on. And in Siege, if you lose a character, you're done. You lost a star. You could potentially lose significant amount of points that match because of it. So he's not squishy at all. Does good damage. The enrage thing, losing control of him, that is a negative, but it doesn't bother me that much. His home run thing with the agility downs is great. When he kills a toon, it's even better because he uses it again. I can't. What of his moves gives him shields too?
Yeah, I think his buff move does.
His buff moves, and sometimes he does buff off turn too, right? Like sometimes he double buffs.
Yeah, I can't remember what causes it anymore.
But very useful. Really, that crit immunity is huge. And he does something that very few greens can do. He can punch out an RB5 Lex fully overhealed.
I've had him take
How
out an
about
RB5
that?
Wonder Girl when he got rolling one of the times. He went crazy.
Oh, you took out an RB5 Wonder Girl with it?
Yeah, on a counter. I couldn't believe it. He crit, but he had like
That is
85
so
trillion
impressive.
strength ups.
Well,
So
he also gives out agility downs that helps a lot
Yeah.
with his
it
damage.
does. It really does. So I'm a fan. I'm going to give him a B because he's not plug and play. He works in certain comps.
And
Really
like Kage
great
said,
damage output.
He is
survivability.
inconsistent. That's the only thing I don't like about him. If he was more consistent,
He's
I'd
very
give him an A.
inconsistent. If he were more consistent, not only might he be an A, he might even be an S.
Yeah, true. Very true. All right, next up, this is one some of the scores surprised me on a little bit, is Indigo 1, who I rated as a C. I tried to like her. I like her on Tootie's, what's his name? Ra's al Ghul led team, and that was the only team I've ever liked her on. I just don't like her on anything. In fact, I felt like giving her a C was generous. Luke, it looks like you agree with me.
I did give her a C. and this month I tried to be generous.
You're feeling the Christmas spirit.
I don't know if anybody noticed, but it's Thanksgiving. I'm in a giving mood, and part of that means raising the level of each one of these tunes up just a hair, just enough, because Indigo, she truly deserves to be trash. Like, she's terrible. Terrible
More so
damage,
than John
terrible
Stewart?
utility.
Mm,
He's trash also. Double trash.
yeah.
Take them both to the landfill. No, I mean, she does one thing right, in my opinion. Just one thing right. And it's the buff move. And it's giving damage immunity to another character or herself. And it helps trigger Lex's heal.
That's
So-
the only reason I gave her a C.
Yeah, me too. She works
Alright.
in a Lex comp. Out of Lex comps, I tried running her with Martian Manhunter. It's just not this. You don't get the same benefit. It's just not the same. She's a fast buffer, but it's really, if you need that damage immunity, that's why she gets a C.
That actually works against her. That move is counterproductive, if you ask me.
So M4, you gave her a B.
I did, because I used her a lot in Siege, surprisingly. So can I go next?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, might as well, right? So,
Do it.
Lute, you mentioned what was it? The damage immunity,
Buff,
but
damage immunity, fast buffer.
but the dumb thing about that is that person gets the turn meter up, right? Wait, is it the right? Is it the same move? Someone gets
Yes,
it.
it is.
Yeah,
It is.
so
It gives turn meter and damage immunity.
right, and usually you want to give it to someone who's going to take a turn. So the damage immunity kind of like just prevents a counter attack, and that's about it, right? You just, waste it. So if you want to survive, give it to herself to get the maximum mileage out of it. But she's not. She has good control. I like using her basic a lot. So especially against slow tunes like Star Sapphire. You don't care about strength down, but 20% turn meter down is a big help. So that's how I use that a lot. And then she mends the turn meter up to someone. The shields, which I use a lot to enable Alan Scott. And then also she purges, right? I think she's the only purger in Siege, maybe. But I use that a lot because she's the fastest bonus toon, and when you face Guy, everyone has damage immunity, or the lanterns have damage immunity. Everyone has crit immunity, so she can purge them off. So would I use her outside of Siege? Probably not, but I don't think she's useless. If you wanna use her, you can find a lot of uses for her. She does a lot. She's not very good at all of them, but she can be decent in the right comps.
Sheriff Lobo, I see you also gave her a B, which kind of surprised me. We gave Black Hand a C, but we may be giving Indigo One a higher score, so a little bit,
yeah.
mentally I'm having a problem mentally with this.
As I was thinking about it, the reason that I rated Black Hand so low is because I played with him in Wraith and I couldn't get him to do anything. But with Indigo 1, I didn't have her geared up during her Alliance week, so I've not really played with her in Wraith. But she was really helpful in Siege, as M4 said, because she was the fastest bonus team. And I really used her a lot to activate Star Sapphire. She could, get that AoE off sooner. She could deal with debuffs from the enemy, Star Sapphire. If you wanted to have, Star Sapphire guaranteed overheal on her first turn to use her first, you could, use Indigo 1 with that. So I found her really useful in Siege, and she may not be very useful outside of that. So I would have no problem if everyone else voted her C. I would not argue with that at all. But I found some good uses for her.
Kage, abs aside, what is
Fuck
your...
you, dude. I'm saying it. She's S tier in terms of her skin. Look at those abs, though. Like, come on, you can't. You tell me you don't like those abs?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna
definitely got the
disagree with
cake.
you.
I probably would have to agree with Lobo though. Lobo and M4. I think she's like a B minus, C plus. I think a rework for her. I can see a good rework for her in the future. I want to see more control aspects of her. I think she does like the control aspect somewhat well with the turn meter down and the turn meter up shenanigans, but I think they could go a little further with that. Maybe putting something like silence on her, making sure like she's preventing people from doing their super moves and everything. I think that would make her a little bit better of a character. She's not terrible. I can't see myself using her. She doesn't really fit my comps, but she's a good buffer. I think her speed is what, like 119? I can't remember what it was. But she's
112.
decently
She's
fast.
slow.
112?
She's 112. She
Okay,
just
so
seems
she's-
fast in Siege.
Okay, well, Siege was just full of slowpoke, so that's
Yeah.
probably why. But yeah, she's not terrible. I just wouldn't use her. Probably a C.
Okay, I'm gonna go with C because it feels wrong giving her a B and Blackhand a C. So I feel like Blackhand's a significantly better character.
Really?
M4, did you have any comments on Blackhand? These guys gave everybody but me gave him a C. What?
I gave
We
him a B.
pooped on him.
I gave him a B because he's not complete trash, but he's supposed to be a lantern killer, and I've seen the boy stream and it's like, this is gonna do it, and it's like, boop. Nope. And even the boy was like disappointed, like, oh my god. He was expecting the Blackhand to like one shot, half health, Hal Jordan, and it's like, didn't happen. So if that's your job and you're half-assed at it, B is as high as I can give you.
Okay, I was just curious. I didn't get your take on it since you weren't here yet. Moving on to Joker Damaged Goods. Loot. I'll let you start since you recently took him to RB5.
Just a small correction.
Oh,
It's
Joker
Clown
Clown Prince of Crime. Yeah, excuse me.
So, yes, I did take him to RB5. I started at RB2, and I took him to RB5 for one single reason. It keeps him alive. And I needed another toon to use in Siege that wasn't going to fall down if you blow on him. His damage was decent at RB5, still not great. His basic is very useful because it completely shuts down intellect-based teams. Because the intellect's down is awesome. So he totally makes like MMH not work,
Get
any
an
of those
echo on
Lex
you,
comps not work. Really?
Somebody. Somehow.
I don't think I'm echoing.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Maybe I am. Anyway, he's still not great though. Even at RB5, he's not great. So, I mean, he's okay. He's good. He served the purpose that I needed him to serve. And in the future, because I'm sure he'll be another bonus toon again, he'll serve the same purpose. He was a red. Were there any other reds?
Yeah, he was the only one.
He was the only one. So he really, for me, he fit a specific need, which is why I took him to RB5. I also happen to be sitting on a disgusting amount of rebirth crystals at the moment.
Which doesn't make any
More
sense to
than
me.
I've ever had in my life.
Doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know how. I mean, I sit on them but I'm sitting on them I'm waiting on a character or waiting on a shard or something. That's the only reason that I ever sit on them.
No, I'm just flat out sitting on them. I don't know what I want to do with them because I don't think any toon is really worth it. So like it just kind of has to like fit a need. And this month he fit the need and I only needed to use 30 crystals.
That's good. All right, Kage, what was your score for Joker?
That was cool humble flex from our boy Loot, the resident peasant there. So that's cool, man. I see you also bought yourself the new Xbox Series X with that rebirth money. So,
I did.
good for you, man.
I
Good for
bought
you, man.
2 of them, me and my boy.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I actually bought 3 by accident, and I gave 1 to Burger.
Oh shit. Okay. I think Joker is actually pretty cool of a character, but yeah, he falls down a lot. He's like paper thin. Like you splash a bit of water on him and blow on him, he just kind of crumbles. So I don't know. If he can survive, he's really scary because if you hit him, he hits your back, and you get the int down, you just get nuked, and that's not really pleasant. So I'd say he's a B.
M4.
Very good on int teams and boot teams.
He's a B. The only reason he's not that great in Siege is because there's no other bleeders. If there another bleeder, faster bleeder, let's say a Cassandra Cain on your team, your RB5 Cpoc would be much scarier. But so I have an L5, and I can bring him out against, like Kage said, Martian Manhunter, even Cyborg Supes, because of the int downs. If you can just keep him alive long enough, he certainly did help in Siege. And outside of Siege, yeah, just bring another leader. He would be decent. And he's one of those better on defense than on offense. Because he's one of those you don't want to ignore, but at the same time you don't want to kill. Because his on-death counterattack can hurt. And that's why I hate him also in Siege. Especially Loots, RB5. It's so annoying.
Yeah, I face Jokers a lot.
Yeah. He's gonna take out your Alan Scott, not my Star Sapphire, but other blues. They just melt with that AOE retaliation and that. So he's definitely good loot, just not in Siege. You just brought him because he's the sole red, but build a team around him.
Was the only
can be very decent. Yeah, he can be really decent, even good.
Sheriff Lobo.
I really want to love him, but he just dies. I love his kit.
That's exactly my thought. Exactly my thought.
Yeah, I want to play with him in red alerts, PvP, but he just makes the team worse because he dies so fast. Everybody targets him first. And in this siege, Star Sapphire hurt him a lot because you want to take her out soon. She was the big threat. But, of course, when you take her out, she purges all the bleeds off the other toons, which limits Joker's usefulness because you want to put those int down, you want to put those bleeds. So they just go away. When I used him, I would always pair him with my Red Hood. But anyway, I want to love him, but maybe if I rebirthed him, but I don't want to waste rebirths on him. He would survive, and that would be good. But he just disappoints me so much.
Yeah, he's so squishy. That's why I couldn't give him above a C personally. I think he's solid, but he dies so fast. So fast. But it looks like we're keeping him at a B.
That's the sole reason I brought him higher.
Yeah. You might have to build a bleed team now, Luke.
A lot of my decisions, and I said it in the beginning of the cast, a lot of the decisions that I make is keeping toons alive.
Yeah.
It's what can I do to my roster to make it so that when I play Siege, my toon doesn't die as fast. That's what I base most of my decisions on. I don't really have favorites. I just don't play that game like where I'm like, oh, Superman is my favorite character, so I'm going to take him RB5. I just don't play like that. It's just not my style.
All right. Last one. Star Sapphire. M4 will start with you since you just took her RB5.
Can you tell me that she won Toon of the Month?
Yes. Yeah, actually, we started with, is anybody not voting for Star Sapphire? And no one said anything, and we moved on. So.
Okay, cool. All right, just making sure, because it's crazy to think that there's anyone better this month than Star Sapphire. I was so close to pulling the S tier on her. If they kept the int ups on her basic, she would be S tier, like hands down. That's the only thing holding her back. But when I saw her kit, I was like, oh my god, this is really great. I don't have to use Lex all the time. So you can use Martian Manhunter. She's kind of like a delayed Lex. Someone buffs, AoE buff would be better, and they would be overhealed by their turn. And then they're also going to be really tanky because of the crit immunity. And that's just talking about the defensive side of Star Sapphire. Oh, and you want to kill her? Oh, let me just bring my team back. And use Cersei, and then it's just a nightmare. Who do I kill first? And then on offense, she just shuts down everyone. Strength base, int base, I don't care. And when I'm overhealed, I don't even care if you're red. Or maybe it's because of minus RB5. She just destroys everything with that basic. And what else? She shields, overheals, mends. I'm just almost S tier. And I'm so close to pulling S tier. But right now she's an A+.
Sheriff Lobo?
Yeah, I agree with M4. I would almost give her a S. I think she needs more health. She still has survivability with her heal and crit immunity, which she gets a lot. But for me, obviously not rebirthing her. She's one of those like Joker that everybody seems to target, regardless of their affinity. Her rework was, absolutely fantastic. As M4 said, she does so much offensively and defensively. That AoE is, solid, shuts everybody down. It's clear why she's the Toon of the Month and why M4 RB5'd her.
Kage?
I was just gonna say S tier as well. Like, she's really good. I'm really glad that they added int downs into her kit. I think it expanded her niche, expanded her utility to include shutting down int characters instead of strength characters as well. But yeah, without being able to self-enable herself, you need to spend a turn trying to heal herself or have someone to buff her. So that's not great. But other than that, she's A++, like plus tier. Like, she's like in a league of her own at this point.
Yeah, she's really good. I really like her. I think one day down the road, if they make a character that's does something crazy with debuffs, she'll be the go-to character that you pair with. You could run Star Sapphire, Jessica Cruz, and then just shut down everything. So there's a lot of fun comps you can do with her. She's a really cool character. I even toyed with the idea of rebirthing her just because, even though she doesn't have a stun, she does so much, and I'm severely lacking on high rebirth blues. So, great character, by far the star of the month. Everybody else was kind of me. Actually, I get 3 Cs.
What I hate is going up against Star Sapphire and knowing that I can't just kill her out the gate. I have to kill everyone else first because she's going to put up those awareness on everyone. And that's just evil, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did that.
She's good. I like her. Great character. That is everyone on the tier list. I hope everyone has had a happy Thanksgiving. By the time you listen to this, it will be past. And until next time, thanks everyone.
So long.
Happy holidays.
Later.
Hello everyone, it's me, Tootytron, and right now there are a number of great charities that you could donate to help those affected by the coronavirus, like the ones supporting bartenders and servers like myself, while we are currently all unemployed. But more urgently, you can become a patron to WROL Broadcasts and get early reviews of new characters before sales end. Just go to patreon.com/WROL Broadcasts for more details. Hey, Bullsy, who's your favorite character?
Hawkman!
Who?
Hawkman!
Who?